Go ahead and grab it. All right, so y'all know Davita, and she's the manager of these two ponds right here. So if she called me up or Evans called me up as an owner and said, hey, I got some sick fish I need you to come out and take a look at. All right. First off, I would try to find the person who is responsible for these ponds on a day-to-day basis. All right. So she is the one I would be spending most of my time talking to and trying to find out the answer to all those questions that we were talking about in class earlier. You know, when did the problem start? How many fish are in the pond? When, you know, what is their feed rate? What kind of clinical signs is she seeing? And so as you see these fish here, the ones that we're really wanting to target, according to her, would be the ones that are showing the clinical signs that she's seeing the most of. And so with these fish right here, what she is seeing is these fish that have the exophthalmia and the bloated abdomen. See how big that belly is? Yeah, you can pass that around. Just note the eyes and note the abdomen. So as we would sit here and we would talk about these things and try to get the answers, you know, I would be walking around trying to get some more samples. I got my one. Let's try to get a couple of more. I want to show them the packaging.
Okay. Okay, so we've got 5 samples here, and all the fish are showing the same clinical signs. Exophthalmia, the big belly, as well as when you look at them in the water, the other way to see that is the ones that were sick that she was targeting, they've kind of moved themselves off by themselves. They're kind of loners. That's another indication that they're sick, is they're not swimming and out with the rest of the group. Yeah, they're not with the school. So they're kind of just hanging out over here by themselves. Is that a normal behavior? No.
No. Is that normal?
No.
So they're the ones that we're trying to pick up. See, there's 2 of them right over there by that feed tray. They're just kind of up on the top of the surface, hanging around slowly.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that we're trying to target. That's what we picked up here, and every one of them has the same clinical signs. There's nothing unique or, you know, nothing outside of that norm that we're seeing as far as the disease progression. So, depending on exactly what I was trying to do with my analysis, I picked up 5 fish here that's all got the same clinical signs.
Okay.
Usually about 5, if you see that, that's enough usually to kind of get an idea about what's going on, unless the lab is telling you different. Okay, this is where the communication comes in. You've got to figure out what is what and what the procedure should be. But, so I've got my samples here. I've collected all the background information here from her. You know, and usually I'll have my diagnostic sheet with me, and I'm already filling it out. Or I've got my notebook, and I'm writing all this stuff down. My diagnostic sheet has got all the questions that I need to ask her, plus an area for notes that I can be doing. And I'm going to find that tonight, and I'm going to get it out to everybody, okay, on WhatsApp. I'm going to do that. But as we got these, okay, we need to, let's say we need to take them back to the lab, but how small these guys are, they're going to break down pretty fast. So I need to, even though, let's say my lab is an hour from here, even at this size, they're going to break down pretty fast. I'm afraid I won't be able to get them back to the lab alive, so I need to package them correctly in order to make sure that when I get back to the lab, they're still good to try to assess. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I brought some of the paper towels that were in the bathroom over at the conference hall. Okay, you pass that around. This is the type of paper that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Okay? Now, that's quite different than the tissue paper we use to clean ourselves, right? This stuff right here really breaks down really fast when it gets wet. It goes everywhere. Actually, I've had some toilet paper kind of like that before. It's not fun. So, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of sheets of this paper like this. And I'm going to kind of wring it out. And what I want to do is unfold it very carefully. So that now I've got, it's moist. When I put the fish with it, it's going to keep the fish skin moist. But it's not just super wet and causes a lot of excess water to accumulate in the bag.
Yeah.
Now, some people will ask, do you need to keep them separate from one another? If you've got all the same sick fish from the same unit, no, you don't need to separate them. They can go in the same napkin, they can go in the same bag. Okay? Then I would mark this somehow or another, especially if I was out here on a farm and I'm picking up fish from this pond. We've got sick fish over here in this one. You know, while you're out visiting the farm, if you've got multiple ponds to pick up from or multiple units to pick up from, you need to make sure you have a way to mark your bags or mark the fish. So at this point right here, let's say I've got all my samples together and I've got to package it up. All I'm really looking to do is just to make sure that I'm packaging it where if there's any water right here in my cooler, it's not going to get with the fish. Okay? So this is my makeshift cooler right here. All right? It's kind of flimsy, but this is my cooler box. These are my bottles of ice. And I can just put this in here and tuck it in there and close it back up. Okay? Now, if they were bigger fish where they were going to be laying directly on that ice, I would probably put some kind of insulating layer over this so that direct contact doesn't happen. All right? So, if I've got a good strong cooler, I can close this thing up and I can ship it anywhere in the world, just like that. I can ship it, you know, the labs in Europe, I can ship it to Singapore, I can ship it to the US, as long as I've made the proper arrangements with the lab. Okay? So, again, the sample collection that you make right here, because we don't want these that are floating. They're already decomposed to the point where we can't use anything about these. We can count them,
and we kind of get an idea about, because that's an important piece of information about what the mortality rate is, but it's the sick ones that we're trying to collect for diagnosis. Again, so when we get these sick ones, how we keep them prepared till it can get to the lab is the most important part when you're trying to make the assessments. And you're paying money to get them assessed. You don't want to pay all that money for shipping and they get to the lab and they not be good samples, or they decompose because you didn't take care of them correctly. I had a situation a few years ago. We told a farmer, take the fish, you package them up in a bag, pack them in ice, and then send them to the lab FedEx. Now, one of my students told the farmer this, and we had a printout of the situation of how exactly to do it. We faxed it to him. What did he do? He took the bag like this, put the fish in it, stuck it in another bag like this that contained about 4 or 5 ice cubes in it, stuck it in an uninsulated FedEx envelope, and shipped it overnight. Of course, all the water melted, the fish got hot, they decomposed, we couldn't use the sample. So he wasted about $50 on shipping because he didn't follow the directions. We had the directions spelled out for him. We gave him exactly how to do it. But he did it wrong and wasted all that time and money. Okay? But I would do this if I was going 30 minutes away. I would be doing this kind of technique if I was going to be shipping them around the world. Okay? Questions?
What if I get a bag like this, a bag, and get water to put the live fish like that, so that's the...
Okay, that's a really good point. Typically on something like that, I do not like to do that, because here's the problem. And did everybody hear the question?
No.
Repeat your question, make sure it's loud.
Speak up.
I know that I want to take this fish like this because I fear that the eyes is to leak out and I'm not going to do this correctly. I want to try and send the sample live to my lab. So I take the fish, put it in an air bag, well oxygenated, and put it here like and sell it.
Like you're shipping fish, in sealed airbags. Okay, here's the problem. What if they don't make it to the lab alive? Do you have a guarantee that they're going to make it alive? No. They're sick. Exactly. That's it. That's the key right there. It's the time factor. Okay? I've tried to carry fish in a bucket, oxygenated, an hour away. I picked up the sick fish I thought could make it to the lab even with the air bubbler in the bucket. I thought I could make it to the lab. They didn't make it. Okay? So it's a risk. It's a big risk to do that. And I would just caution you about making that decision. Like we said, if you can get them to the lab alive, that would be ideal for the lab standpoint. But you have to have a pretty good bet that they're not going to die in transit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one problem. And especially overnight, I definitely wouldn't be doing it. If it's an hour, 2-hour drive, I might do it because then I can kind of, go back there and look and see, okay, the fish are still alive, I'm good, I'll continue to drive. Or, wait a minute, there's a few that's starting to die, I'm going to pick them up and I'm going to get them packaged correctly like this. And get them out of that bag.
It's safer for me to just kill the fish like you kill this one.
Yeah. It really is.
There's one lab sample test is looking for similar clinical signs. Because once you have a particular clinical sign, one lab test is okay for it instead of
Yeah,
doing repeated
for most cases, yeah. Most cases, you know, that sample should be enough to get the job done if it's a well-equipped lab and you got good personnel that know what they're trying to do. Yeah. Now there have been cases where I need more samples, and I mean, we couldn't find anything, and I had to call the guy back, because they submitted one sample, one fish, and it happened to be a new disease, an emerging issue, and what I did to the fish, I couldn't get any samples, and so I called back to say, hey, can you send some more samples? I will even pay for your shipping. And I would reimburse the customer for that to get those additional samples because I couldn't figure it out the first time. So there sometimes can be cases where you need to go out and get more samples back to confirm what you're seeing.
Yeah, I was just thinking that considering cases of laboratories where you cannot really authenticate their results, most especially in African sector. It may not be nice if you have multiple samples taken to several labs, maybe 2 or 3 places, to ascertain the reliability of the results that you are getting.
Yeah, and we had a lot of producers doing that very thing when this disease first broke out. Okay, they were sending samples to Europe, to France, and they were also sending samples to Singapore, as well as University Ghana Legon in Accra. So they were sending samples out to 3 different labs to make sure of what was happening. This was during those first few outbreaks, and people were trying to figure out what was going on. And if you've got questions about your lab, but that's also part of trying to establish your SOPs right now and be thinking about this right now. What labs do I have confidence in sending just some routine samples to? What labs, if I have a new, completely emerging disease, what other labs do I need to be sending them to? I would be making that list out and having it part of my SOPs for my farm right now.
The next thing for you,
Amen. So yeah, that's a very valid point. I had up on the board, make sure that the lab is qualified to do the analysis that you're looking for or that you suspect. And if they're not giving you reliable results, things don't match up, start looking elsewhere. I told y'all about the story about that case that we had in 2009 with that new case of Aeromonas hydrophila. That's essentially what happened with us there, is the lab that originally got the samples, he had limited capabilities. It's not that he wasn't, a smart guy, because he's a brilliant guy. He just didn't have the facilities and the equipment to do the next follow-up that were necessary. So that might be the case. So you need to be planning for that right now as part of your business plan, as part of your farm protocols of, here's a list of my fish health consultants that I'm going to be contacting if I've got issues. Here's ones that I've got for kind of some of the more routine problems I have full confidence in. Here's, the 2 or 3 labs that I might need to get further analysis on, but I've got their address. I know exactly who to contact, where to send it, how to fill out my shipping forms.